Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are, whoever you are. Welcome once again to Nerd Week Live, the nerd news show here brought to you by the folks at Nerd Caliber. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber, and joining me tonight is an extensive roster of team members. This is awesome. We haven't had a number like this in quite a while. I'm excited. So let's start. On the screen next to me, we'll go with the wonderful and talented Gogo. Introduce yourself if you would.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gogo Incognito. I have been with Nerd Caliber for a long time, and I plan to stick around. I'm excited to be back after a month-long sabbatical, and I can't wait to get into it tonight.
Excellent. Let's see. Dropping down in my screen below you, Byron, with the appropriate background, if you would.
Hi, everybody. Byron McNeil, aka Byron D0. Do a bunch of different things on the internet, but I'm gonna do a little promo for my shirt here. I have merch on Store Envy. Shirts like this, which says "Angry gets the S word done."
Stuff done, but not that
Yes.
word. Okay.
Yes, and I got a bunch of stuff. Just look up Byron D0 in Store Envy. It's cool. I'm making new stuff all the time, especially since I set up my art game. Yeah, boy.
All right. And if Negasonic Teenage Warhead can get off the phone, Lewis, if you would.
Only the old people laughed at that joke, clearly.
Yeah, because Deadpool is an old movie.
Yeah. When you're an old person, you tend to reference the young stuff to stay hip.
Oh, there you go.
Gosh.
That's true. Okay, I'll give you that one.
He turned it around on us.
And Lewis disappeared. Sorry for. Oh no. Okay.
How did this internet work? Hi guys. Once again, I'm back. It's great to be back. Because it was pretty stiff there for a while for me to get on the show. But I was on last time. I'm on today. I'm probably gonna be on for the next couple of weeks. We'll see what happens. Who knows? The crazy life is crazy. But anyways, Louis Correa crashed. The photos, if you like to play with games on Steam, hit me up, Crash the Stampede. I got a fantastic Conan server, co-producer at Nerd Caliber.
Awesome. And the amazingly blue-bearded Wonder Llama himself, if you would introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, everybody. Greg Snyder, a.k.a. Wonder Llama, cosplay and/or photography. Pretty much just photography these days. If you've been here before, I've been talking a little bit about photography studio that some partners and I opened up in the end of 2020. About one of the few good things personally. So if you're in Greater Boston and you want to do some crazy photography stuff, we're set up for it. Red Raven Studios. Find us on all the usual locations. I figured a big FU to 2020. Out with the old, in with the new. I've done a hint of blue before, but never done the full thing. So I woke up very early and blew myself.
And there goes our monetization. Thank you all very much. Good night.
Oh my God.
So joining us already on the chats, YouTube, Christina, welcome back to the show. Joel, hello. Gotta escape. Hope you stay with us while you're trying to escape. And welcome to the show. Lily Hart, welcome back. That's where we got there. And let's see, we got anybody on Twitch yet? Nobody yet on Twitch or the Facebooks. All right. So we don't have a huge... Oh, by the way, speaking of merch, as Byron was plugging his merch, we're going to plug our merch. After having a Teespring account that is supposed to be connected to our YouTube for the last year and a half, we finally got it connected to our YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah, user error, I'm sure. On my part, I'm sure. So anyway, if you don't have ads hidden, you should be able to see our Teespring merch stuff in the YouTube feeds for those who are on YouTube. And if not, like everything else, everywhere else in the world, our username is Nerd Caliber, all is one word, all lowercase. So check it out if you want to see any of the merch that we've got up so far. Nothing super crazy, but we got a few things, mugs and stuff. It's kind of nice. And of course, we're always pushing our Patreon. When cons do come back, fingers crossed, then hopefully we'll be able to get to more and more cons, the more and more people we have helping to support us on Patreon. We don't have a ton of tiers because basically that's all it is It's up there. So support us so we can go get more cool content for you guys. That's it.
I forgot to. Can I say one thing,
Sure.
Rodney? I forgot to actually introduce myself and say where you can find me. All y'all have to remember is that I'm Gogo Incognito, and it should say that. Maybe you guys get to see it under my little picture. If not, no worry. It rhymes. Gogo Incognito. Just type that in, and you'll find me.
Awesome. Yvette, Simone's Cruise, welcome back to the show. Babbling Brook says, "What's up, Byron and Crash?"
Hello.
Brooke, what is up? Welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, welcome, Brooke.
And with that, we're going to get into our first topic. And I know last show was just this massive, crazy in memoriam list. And of course, 2021 wasn't going to, stop that, I guess would be the word. Although this is a little strange. That is the rapper MF Doom. And the news is that MF Doom passed away October 31st. It just got put out there by his family that he had passed away. Now, cooler people than me know all about MF Doom. He was a stalwart on things like Adult Swim. The metal mask that he's wearing was absolutely inspired, as was his name, by Dr. Doom.
Yes.
And I got to say, once I listened to him as a fan of really creative lyricism, it kills me that I had no idea who this guy was. I mean, this guy's lyrical talent is insane. Or was insane, I guess I should say. So, I've gone back and listened to an awful lot of his original group, KDM, and MF Doom stuff, and just love it. And I'm very sad that I had no idea, who he was. Who here is familiar with MF Doom's work?
Reasonably. Like, again, just like you said, like, I'm more familiar with him from the stuff that he did with Adult Swim, in its heyday. His name was kind of synonymous with Adult Swim.
And that may be where I didn't get any awareness of him, because I didn't really, Adult Swim was never sort of my thing. My interests in that sort of crossed. By the time I was interested in that, I was able to find things that you could usually find on Adult Swim on other platforms. So, I didn't catch a lot of the ancillary support stuff, which is, I'm guessing, what he did. He didn't have like a show on Adult Swim or anything, did he?
I think he did the Aqua Teen Hunger Force theme song. I'm not sure.
Oh, wow.
I'm not entirely sure.
Oh my gosh! And if you haven't heard that, or if you've never experienced Aqua Teen Hunger Force, I don't even know how to describe it, but if you partake of certain substances and watch it, you may open up a whole universe. So yeah, but that's good information. I used to love Adult Swim. It used to be my go-to for so many things. Just in terms of like content, there was always content that I wanted and was really happy with, and then I feel like that changed, and there just became a lot of misogynistic content on there, and I was finding other things in other places, and I'm just like, bye. So
yeah. Oh.
No, I was just gonna say I probably absolutely have heard MF Doom, but just didn't know, and then he passed, and so now I feel like I want to go back and absolutely find his work and his artistry and celebrate that. I just, I feel bad that I didn't know that there was like one person creating all this cool stuff that I listened to and took for granted.
Yeah, if you haven't seen or read anything about Daniel, and I'm not sure if I'm good with the pronunciation of this, I'm going to go with Dumile. Could be Dumile. His story, if you haven't read any of this, go find, there's a wonderful Rolling Stone article, but there's plenty of stuff on the internet now. It's a very tragic story, but also a story of somebody who just absolutely refused to stop doing his creative work, despite tragedies and complete lack of industry support and so on. It's an amazing story, and I guarantee it's going to be a movie in probably 3 years.
We'll see. I was gonna say, so he was Chance the Rapper before Chance the Rapper was a thing.
Yeah, and without ultimately Chance the Rapper's success. Mr. Krakowian, welcome back to the show, and thank you for saying that. Happy New Year, and so Happy New Year to everybody that's tuning in and in the chats. We forgot to say that. Yay, 2021. All right, so we're moving on to our next piece of news here, and that is, you gotta give it to Oda-san. One Piece's 1,000th chapter as a manga dropped this week. 1,000 chapters of this ongoing epic, enormous epic. And I've not, Byron's our expert, Byron's going to go off on this in a bit, but I've not read any of it. All of my information about how incredibly epic this world is and the characters that Oda has developed, it comes from either seeing people cosplaying and then hearing them just go on endlessly, because One Piece fans are dedicated, or watching some YouTube videos where they really, people who have recently discovered how incredibly deep it is want you to know that.
Like the YouTuber Totally Not Mark.
Yep, or in my case, it was Jeff from Mother's Basement.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so Byron, tell us, I was going to say tell us all about One Piece, but that would take about 5 shows. So
probably.
Tell us a short synopsis of what One Piece is and why it's so great.
Okay, so it chronicles the journey of Monkey D. Luffy, whose quest is to become the king of the pirates. In order to do that, he has to traverse the ocean known as the Grand Line to the island of Laugh-Tale, where the titular treasure, the One Piece, is located. And as the story has grown, he's acquired various crew members. He's a very interesting character in the sense he's not a malicious person as a pirate. I would liken him more to someone like, say, Black Bart, who he had his own code, but he was still against the establishment.
And that's let me weigh in there if I can say that's in the course of 1,000 chapters. You can imagine just sailing to one island to try to get one treasure would be stretching it out a little. That's a huge part of the narrative of this world, is that he is fighting against what is literally called the world government, correct?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. As well as other pirates who are bigger in name, who dwarf him in strength, who dwarf him in reputation, along with some of his more noble crewmates like the Master of Santoryu, Roronoa Zoro. His goal is to become the world's greatest swordsman. In order to do that, he has to defeat the current world's greatest swordsman.
And apparently has to carry 3 swords, one of which he carries in his teeth all the time because he's only got 2 hands.
That particular sword in his mouth, it has sentimental value to him. So his rival Kuina, who had died as a child, wanted to become a world's greatest swordsman. So he carried that dream on for her.
Yeah. And that's just, the characters are wild, amazing from what I understand. Again, I haven't read it.
One thing that I applaud Oda for is the fact that, in spite of everything, he's stuck to his vision. A lot of manga, I noticed that in a lot of other manga, the artists are kind of pressured, are pressured to go a certain way with the story. Like, for example, Akira Toriyama, who he wanted to end the story at certain points. He wanted to end it with the Saiyan saga. He wanted to end it with the Frieza saga. He wanted to end it at the Cell saga. And when you got to the Boost saga, you kind of saw where he was just like, nah, I'm good. I'm not doing this anymore. Which
Yeah.
is why it kind of unraveled towards the end.
Yeah. In this case, more than 25 years.
Yes.
Taking him to do these 1,000 chapters. And it's not in this article, but remind me, he is speculating that this is going to wrap up in 2023?
Roughly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, like, in the current narrative, a lot of things seem to be heading towards an end game. Like, we're finding out that
maybe some people want to spoil, not be spoiled.
I'm not going to spoil anything. We're finding out that the crew needs to, what the crew needs to do to find the island.
Okay. Which, after 25 years, you would think they would probably, figure that out.
Well, I mean, part of it is they've been caught up in other conflicts on various islands, and we find some of their led to character backstories, crew members going off in their own way, and the rest of the crew trying to get them back. That's been a common trend. Everyone's. I feel like one thing I like is that every character gets their time to shine in one way or another.
Yep.
Jumping back, oceans are big.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Lewis.
I just said, let's not forget that oceans are big.
Yes, oceans are big. I guess it does take a while. Still, I'm pretty sure you could go around the globe a bunch of times in 25 years.
I mean, if you're not caught up in a war.
Oh, that is true. On Facebook, Ben, Robin Studios, welcome. And great recommendations here. I highly recommend MF Doom, MC Chris, MC Lars, MC Frontalot, MC Hawking, DJ Green Lantern, and now you're going beyond me. I have no idea. Lemon Demon and Neil Cicerega. I'll have to check out those that I don't know. I agree with the ones that I do know. I agree wholeheartedly. I'm
myself.
Frontalot, MC Lars, MC Chris, MC Hawking stan for days.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so congratulations to Oda-san.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. Because, it'll be something, have another few years, the anime will go for another 5 years, and I'll still not watch it because I'm not going to watch an anime that has, 300 episodes.
So I've caught up on a little bit of it, purely because I found a website that edits out all the filler.
Nice. You're gonna have to link me to that.
It compresses entire episodes to 20 minutes after it cuts out all the filler. I'm like,
Louis, you're gonna have to send me a link to that. I want to watch it just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. It's great.
And I'm sure it's a link that we don't want to be sharing to any of our fans out there. So just be aware that it's there and do some Google searches, folks, if you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, moving on to our next topic. That is the Cary Town Center Mall in Cary, North Carolina, which will soon be the new global headquarters for Epic Games, which bought the almost completely empty mall and plans to turn it into their worldwide headquarters, 980,000 square feet, and they paid only $95 million for it.
Impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
That's really solid. It's also 2 miles away from their current headquarters. So it is a suburb, I guess. It's one of the towns connected to the Raleigh-Durham part of the Triangle business sector.
I'm familiar with it.
Oh, of course you would. Yeah, Durham.
Yeah. North Carolinian.
So I just threw it in there because it was an amazing bit of news, but, and the joke, of course, is that, it's no longer going to be the Epic Games store. It's going to be Epic Games Mall. But
honestly, I've heard people, or I've seen people on Twitter, making fun of it. And I'm like, why the shit are you making fun of it? Would you rather they go build another building and then have, locations that are empty in the city, not bringing in money to said city? It's great to just
tear down more trees.
Yeah, it's great to just utilize things that are there. God forbid it's a city or a town that has a Walmart that decided to move it out of the town line within 10 years of its no tax contract going up. Not naming any specific corporations or Walmart, even though I said it twice.
I agree with Crash there. I mean, I think at first I was like, I don't know, what's such a big deal about this? And then, the more I thought about it, I was like, they can make it so cool and so fun. And exactly that, they're reusing, or they're not reusing, they're using this built space that there's so much stuff already equipped in this building that like it's just smart. It's a smart move. It's kind of kitschy, and it should be really neat, and yeah, much better for the environment than building something new.
Absolutely. I definitely am totally on board for this. Again, because like all you really have to do is just gut it out from the inside.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't need a lot. They don't need to gut a lot of it because like
there's like a weird fountain in the center, like I know my mall did growing up. Keep that. How fun is that? There's like a weird fountain with like LEDs that change color. It was such like the late '80s like thing. Oh my gosh, I'd love to have one of those. And
imagine what the rec room will look like.
And when you get bored, you invite all your Fortnite kids over, give them Nerf guns, and let them have at it inside the mall.
There you go. Now, Greg, you had said something, and I don't think we caught it.
My company has an office in Research Triangle Park, which is like Raleigh, Durham, RTP, Cary.
Yes.
All kind of a big circle and tons of smart people and interesting industry and R&D, etc. But yeah, I've been in the mall once years ago. It was probably 3, maybe 4 years ago. So I can't say I remember it well enough to remember if there was a cool fountain in it. It will not be as cool as the mall in Stranger Things, but it was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, it won't have an interdimensional monster in it either.
No, this has one.
Oh, that makes sense.
It'll have a global gaming monster. So we don't know how much of the mall they're actually going to be taking over. According to this article, well, they'll own the whole thing. But according to this article, they're going to be working with the town of Cary to continue the development of an already planned $193 million sports and recreation center as part of the mall. Which kind of makes sense. I mean, Epic Games is becoming or has become a power player in the gaming industry, but 980,000 square feet, they don't have that many employees. And Fortnite doesn't require that many employees. The Unreal Engine, which they bought a few years ago and now are the sort of owner and licensor of Unreal. Yeah, when Unreal Engine 5 starts hitting games hardcore, they may need more, but not a whole mall's worth. So it makes sense.
Well, I mean, they can also completely, when you hear sports and recreation, it could, I mean, mine goes into so many so many things they can do. They could have a whole Fortnite themed thing.
Yes.
With laser, Nerf guns or laser tag or, all sorts of things, crazy props made of the gentlest foam in the world.
I think it's safe to assume they'll have an area for demoing stuff that'll be reminiscent of PAX East, all the PAXs on steroids because it's permanent and you can really build it out well.
Yep.
Interestingly, this says they were already planning to build a 500,000 square foot facility to accommodate up to 2,000 people. They may actually take up a substantial amount of that for office space, etc. That said, it's curious that they would do this for office space because so few people, especially people that work in this is the software industry for all intents and purposes, are working in an office in any kind of full-time or even flex time capacity right now.
That's a good point, which makes you wonder what their policy is about remote work. I can't imagine a company as allegedly forward in an industry like gaming software wouldn't encourage remote work, but remote work makes it very difficult to enforce crunch, and I'm not sure how much Epic Games is involved in the practice of crunch, of picking the last month or so of a game development and basically making people work close to 24 hours a day.
Oof.
Instead of taking their time.
But most companies do it to some extent. most game development companies. So, and Fortnite has those regular, what the hell do they call their DLC?
Updates.
Their
Hmm?
seasons.
Seasons.
Season
Thank you.
passes, Yep.
Has the regular seasons that they have to get out there. I mean, they would sorely disappoint their fans if they did.
And to be fair, that amount of space, 2,000 employees. I know some of the businesses that I've been into and I've worked for currently right now have a system of cycling employees. So half are remote working and half are working in the office so they can social distance properly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And maybe they're getting ready for a time when they think that, the whole concept of social distancing and so on will just go out the window here in the United States. I'm not sure that's going to happen.
I know soon anyway.
All right, moving on to our next topic, and we're going back to the world of manga. That is, of course, a scene from Attack on Titan, and the news is the manga's wrapping up, folks. Like, actually completely coming to a close, and the last chapter will be published on April for the May issue of Besatsu Shonen. And the final volume of the collected manga will be out on June 9th.
Wow.
Story's done, folks.
Which means I'll finally read the whole thing.
I've been following it myself.
I was for a while, and with the show and everything, and I actually need to catch up on the show. But I think I'd read way past there anyway, and then I got this is my thing with comics and manga is I get really tired of waiting, and then or I'll forget for a little while, or I'll want to like give put some space there so I'm not just like reading like 8 or 9 pages of something. I used to be so devoted to Bleach and like give me the next chapter, and it got so frustrating because it'd be like that's all that happened, that's it, just a little bit of this, and like 1 or 2 words for a whole chapter. So I am excited. If people want it to continue, I'm sorry, but I also love when stories can be wrapped up in an amount of time where it's not dragging.
I have been following Attack on Titan, like the manga, for a while, and I find it so fascinating because it goes into it. It's going into like. There's been a bit of controversy about the correlations with Nazi Germany, which I can kind of see that, but I don't find it particularly problematic. I feel like it's good to have that correlation because oppression is relevant today, and
that's another thing where I don't think we want to go into any more detail than that.
No. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not
I was like, if you start spoiling me, I will reach through the screen.
Give me some credit,
people. Now.
Give me some credit here. All I'm saying is that all I will say is that there was a time skip and things took a huge 180. It took a huge 180, and characters that you love, you might not love so much once you get back into the story.
Well, what about for the people who have never watched or never seen any of it?
It's a slow burn, first of all. So.
Well, no, I didn't mean that. I was like, I don't even want to know that there's a time skip and characters kind of go one.
Yeah. Let's not talk about.
Yeah.
Well, the Titans goose step.
I'm sorry.
No, the Titans do not goose step.
They goose step, and there's one with a little mustache right in the middle.
He's the painter Titan.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I watched the first season, the second season, and barely made it through the second, and then I was done. The slow burn became too slow. And I started watching this new last season. And just so I could basically try to see where they're going with this controversial stuff, and kind of went, okay, I'm still not, it was incredibly exciting in the first season, and then it kind of lost it, and that just, Everybody says that this previous season was like stellar. Maybe I'll go back and watch it.
I mean, I was gonna say one thing that to keep in mind is that the manga releases monthly, so it's understandable that people might fall off with it, with the pacing of like the early story.
Yeah, but it's going to wrap up, and so yeah, if you're the kind of person who likes to pick up like all the collected volumes in one shot and just tear through them,
That's me.
There you go, June.
That's me. I don't like. I did that. The one time I ever made a mistake like that, I had 80 gigs of Batman comics, and I read them all, and all I thought about was Batman for like 2 months. It drove me up the wall.
Sounds like me.
Well, yeah, I agree with everyone who said it is a slow burn, and I was hooked on it from the get-go because I really wanted to see where it was going, and I loved the suspense and the multiple angles, and I was just, it's like you're thinking, it's like, oh, what are they gonna do? And then it also became a like, can we answer one question before putting out 5 more? So if you're into that kind of thing too, where it's like there is
I'm busy
to think about, then you may really, really enjoy it. And the animation is beautiful in the animated. So again, I'm excited to see how they wrap it up. So,
Yeah, that's fair. My introduction to Attack on Titan was largely because of Team 4-Star. So I saw their stuff first, and I was like, all right, but let me see the boring part of this. Let me go see what's not funny. And that's where I started watching Attack on Titan. And then I cosplayed one of them.
For those of you not familiar with the stuff in the chats and on the other, Team 4-Star makes abridged, basically comedy versions of various anime, and they're hilarious. They're really good. They capture all of the stupid ridiculousness parts of it and just put the knife right in. So good stuff.
I gotta say, my introduction and entire experience with Attack on Titan is cosplayers. Haven't watched it, haven't read it, but man, I've seen a lot of costumes.
Yep.
And there's some that are really, really expertly.
Really good.
Fantastic. We just got
well, say goodbye to Byron. I think whatever demand on his attention was too much, too demanding. So.
It's a great costume.
I don't think anybody ever saw me cosplay Keith Satis.
I don't even know the character, but I certainly don't remember.
He's the bald guy that trains the scouts.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I wouldn't even. Of course, I've seen that, but I haven't seen you do it, Crash, and I wouldn't have remembered because I've stepped away from it for quite some time, and also my husband didn't want to keep watching it because he's like, this is some sad stuff.
Yeah.
From the guy who's like, Breaking Bad is his favorite show, but he's just like, this is too much. This is not, this you watch it on your own. So I will.
So congratulations to Isayama-san for making it this far and for deciding to wrap things up on the note that he wants it wrapped up on. So
nice.
Moving on to our next topic. That is, of course, the Vision in his wonderful Halloween costume of the Vision from the comic books. So that's a little meta. And the news is that they dropped a final trailer for WandaVision, which comes out on the 15th, and confirmed, and this is pretty crazy, that 10 days before the show hits, they're just now confirming the number of episodes. I think we even speculated, or at least when talking about the show, talked about the speculation that it was going to be short, that it was going to be like 8 episodes. Well, it is now confirmed that it will be 9. Still not particularly lengthy, but more than what most people figured. And the trailer, either Disney is doing an excellent job of just picking out the particularly creepy, weird parts for these trailers, and we're going to get a show that isn't anything like that, or this is going to be a pretty creepy, weird show. And I'm all for that. I'm in for that.
It definitely has like the House of M vibes, like hard.
Yes. and again, for people who don't know that, go look it up. It would take way too long to get into it, but it's Wanda's alternate reality, perfect world version of the Marvel Comics world. Just I'm really looking forward to this, and now even more so. The weirdness and the creepiness. He was shown in the background in this trailer. You actually get to see like the beekeeper guy, or at least except in the beekeeper, you still have no idea who it is. But I mean, he pulls a Donnie Darko kind of moment, or Frank kind of moment from Donnie Darko, where it's just like, all right, why is this guy out on the street, and what the hell is going on here? There's a beekeeper here.
Yeah, it could literally be like just a fake thing. It could be something serious. It could be Hive. It could be anything.
Yep. Who else is keen on seeing this? What are we thinking about WandaVision?
No, you go ahead, bro.
I am excited, not so much because I really care about Vision as a character, but and please help me remember his name. I am so bad at names.
Paul Bettany.
I really like him, and it's Elizabeth Olsen, right?
Yep.
Okay, see, I am so bad with names. I'm so glad I nailed it. I think they're both spectacular. So I'm invested in what they put out as actors, even though I'm kind of like Vision, really, really couldn't care. Am I going to watch it because they're probably going to make it awesome? Yes, I am.
Cool.
Crash?
Oh, you can go ahead.
Sorry, I thought you were jumping in. Yeah, go. Pretty much what you just said. I can't say I've got much connection to that corner of the Marvel universe per se, but everything I've seen from the trailers, etc., looks so weird and such a fun, unique spin on how to do a show like this. I think I'd watch it just for the aesthetic and for the, I don't know whether it's probably an homage to the I Love Lucy era in at least one or two of the episodes. So I'm here for that, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super looking forward to it. Like I do know House of M, and I do know some of the current runs with Wanda and all the things that's been happening with Vision and things like that. I love the play on the name WandaVision, being Wanda and Vision, but also Wanda's Vision. It's great. Monica Rambeau is in there. They've shown there's so many other heroes in the background of some of the trailers, and they've mentioned a few of them, which is really cool. And I think it's nice to get away from movies for a bit too, because like I think I'm tired of movies and I want to see some episodic stuff going forward.
Well, it's kind of like when you can't go to a movie theater. It's kind of like, really? Okay, yeah, I'm totally with you.
Yeah, and then like, I mean, it looks fantastic, and it looks like Twilight Zone, like Marvel's version of Twilight Zone, and that's why I think I'm going to be happy when What Ifs come out.
Yes. Yeah, completely different topic, but I agree 100%. The What Ifs, I'm really looking forward to. I love the animation design and the look of it when they finally showed us some of the trailer. Give me Haley Atwell as, the female Captain Britain version of Captain America. Yeah, 100%. Luminous, welcome to the show. You're here in the penultimate episode or topic, so we don't have too much time. But Luminous says, hello, all 9 episodes sounds good to me. I now find it surreal that shows used to have 23 or more episodes a season. That's still more common, or close to it is more common in regular broadcast. It's just that streaming doesn't do that. Streaming discovered, particularly with shows like Daredevil and Jessica Jones and so on, that 13 was just stretching it a little bit too much. And so they brought it down into the 10 or 11 range, and now 8 or 9 is sort of the deal.
I gotta think a huge part of that is budget. I mean, pick any one of these, any one of the shows we're talking about, any of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows, hugely expensive to produce. I mean, look at the numbers on what it costs to film Game of Thrones, and you understand why they had 12 episodes a season and not 20. Um, Most network TV shows, you've got 3 sets, and it's not cheap because you've got a lot of staff, etc., and big name actors get paid well, but it's a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from a writing perspective too, like the more episodes you have, the more you have to keep connecting dots, and then the more you mess things up and you leave gaping holes in your plot. So
Well,
like shorter, like 9-10 episodes, you can get where you want to go and wrap things up really nice without having to like fill in extra spaces and keep a running like pattern of like what goes where and who killed who and who did what.
Well,
Yeah,
even 8 episodes though, it's interesting because Mandalorian has in its 8 episodes of this past season 2 that are 100% no effect whatsoever on the overall storyline filler. And it's kind of, and they're interesting. I mean, they're good episodes, but it's kind of like,
That's a fair thing to say, but also if you really like want to break down Mandalorian in that story writing sense, it's literally a side plot in a WoW storyline. Here's a baby, go do this thing, and along the way you'll do a few other things,
Oh,
but
yeah,
ultimately you got this quest. So there's not a whole lot you can really write like expansive wise in that.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm not. It's not a criticism per se, other than just an observation.
It's like watching Cowboy Bebop. There's all these little self-contained episodes, but then there's a thread of an arc going through all of them.
Right.
And it worked out fantastic.
And some of the episodes in Cowboy Bebop or anime like that really don't do anything to move that thread along, but they're still just amazing episodes, and always worth watching. And the same thing with The Mandalorian. But yeah, so WandaVision, January 15th, folks. Can't wait for it to get here. And me personally, I do have Vision was my man. Of all the Avengers, and Avengers was one of my absolute favorite comic books growing up. I loved the team dynamic. Vision was my man. To the extent that I had family members who said, "Stop talking like him. You're not a robot."
And also, when WandaVision comes out, stay off of Tumblr because the obsession with Wiccan and Hulkling and all of that. I've been dodging bullets with that one.
Yeah, it's clear in the trailers that they have, at least in this maybe fantasy fake world, virtual, whatever they're doing, kids. 2 of them.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to find out if it's those kids or if it's Viv and I forget the other kid's name that are Vision's kids.
Oh, from the wonderful comic book that this sort of looks like. Yeah.
The Visions, yeah.
The Visions from 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, just about.
All right, moving on to our last topic, or our next to last topic. We're not at the penultimate. Now we're at the penultimate topic. There's not a whole lot to say about this, folks. This is Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. The Mirror, one of a number of British tabloids, dropped a story in which they said unequivocally that Jodie Whittaker was going to be leaving at the end of this, which would be her 3rd season. And nobody has been able to verify that. Every other article that seems to indicate that it's a verification is quoting the Mirror. There's literally no other sources whatsoever that say that. Every single end of a season since Jodie Whittaker became the Doctor, there have been rumors that it's Jodie's last season. But the BBC refused to even comment on it. Didn't deny it. Certainly didn't confirm it. Literally refused to say anything about Jodie Whittaker's future as the Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of those things where we're just going to have to wait and see. Like, could it be? Probably. It's a good chance, She has said in the past that she's looking to move on to other things. but we don't know for certain. Unintentionally, I didn't even realize my sweater matched her outfit look. So I looked at it and I was like,
Oh, nice.
everybody's gonna
I
think
was
like I'm a
actually
super
looking around
fan.
trying to find, like, I have so much Doctor Who related clothing and even pajamas and my giant fluffy robe, which I almost wore because I had just taken a shower. I was trying to find all my Doctor Who stuff and I couldn't. So anyway, but I have so much in TARDIS blue and so much Doctor Who stuff. I have to say, I mean, I was so celebrating having a femme doctor, so celebrating, and I have had a terrible time keeping up with Jodie's seasons because I'm just not loving the back end, the writing, the pacing, just the behind the scenes, you know. And again, I was the one who was like, yeah, I forget what his name is. Moffat, was that
Yeah.
it? With the current?
Yeah, Steve Moffat.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so ready for him to go, and he was making me dislike one of my favorite things of all time, and so excited for the Chris, whatever, the new guy who's now not so new, but anyway, now just something needs to be changed because Jodie's fabulous, but you can only do so much with what you're given.
Chris Chibnall.
Yeah. And I definitely can understand that, because sometimes you have like writers, showrunners who exit, but then there's like a little bit of a game plan left behind for the next person, and then they might not be excelling as good as they should be because they're sticking to something that they shouldn't be. That is like cramping their creativity. And I'm sure if you ask Greg, he'll make the noise with his blue beard to make.
I know your beard is actually
Greg and TARDIS blue. Didn't make that connection.
I've been between Hank McCoy and Papa Smurf. Take your pick, but I'll go with TARDIS.
Actually, that really is close to your Beast mashup cosplay.
Yeah.
I
never get to pull that one out again.
Yeah. So one of the things that the Mirror and a lot of the other all of the tabloids, by the way, are the ones that are picking this up and going with it. You know, the Daily Sun, the Guardian, they're all going, oh yeah, well the Mirror's reporting. Yeah, no, they're reporting one inside source that there's no confirmation.
Yeah, unconfirmed, but you know, a source close to
right.
You know, the actress or to production
whispers to us. But they do point out that 3 seasons has been pretty typical for the last, 2 Doctors anyway. Capaldi and Matt Smith were both, 3 and done. So maybe this is going to turned out to be true, but we'll just have to see. Which, of course, leads to a whole lot of speculation about where they're going to go with the next Doctor.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba?
I would love to see that.
I would too. I either want...
What? I didn't hear you.
Idris Elba.
Idris Elba would be great. I either want a VIP OC person, and regardless of gender, that would be fantastic. That's really my top priority. If we got another femme person, that would be spectacular. But I also really like Michael Sheen and could see him being another great zany Doctor, which I miss because Tent is still my Doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 is mine, but then again, I'm old. So, so we'll be following this, folks. I'm assuming that there will be follow-ups probably next week, or certainly within the next couple of weeks. Gogo, I'm sort of in your boat. I love the idea. I love the quality of the production values. I mean, they really stepped it up between even Capaldi's stuff and Jodie Whittaker's first couple of episodes. I was like, this isn't, even Matt Smith era kind of cheesy special effects. They put some money into it. But yeah, the writing and the pacing and just, it just didn't hold me for more than about 2/3 of the first season. I do want to get back and watch it, just like you said, and I have to, because plug our upcoming show on our Full Fat Spoiler Chat on Thursday is going to be about the Doctor Who, what they call the Christmas special, but holiday special, because it aired on New Year's Day.
Oh, that's right. I've got to watch that.
If you want to be part of it, you have to watch it. If you want to join in on the chats, I recommend watching it because the show's called Full Fat Spoiler Chat for a reason. Spoilers. So not spoilers that we're going to be spoiling, but we do say spoilers. Anyway, moving on to our last topic.
Can we just? Oh my gosh, who's got a good British accent and can say "No spoilers, darling"? Make us all think of River Song. Anyone?
No, I tend to like in one of the role playing games that I DM, I do like a terrible British accent, and it just sounds terrible. Like, it sounds like this, and everyone's just like, it sounds like low tier Cockney, blah blah blah. And I'm like, whatever, dude, it's fun.
Anyone who loves Doctor Who as much as I do, and loves River Song, I do have a burlesque act as her, but I've never had to speak as her, so no spoilers.
Can you give us a shot? Can you give us a little shot? Try it out.
I just did.
I didn't hear you.
Oh gosh. No spoilers.
I've got. I can do a good Yorkshire, but not. Not
yeah, that actually your Hagrid would be really interesting. Hagrid as River Song. That's what we need. Sugar Puff, welcome to the show, and Cool. Thanks for saying it's cool, or whatever you're referring to as cool. Luminous, as long as the Doctor is not David Hasselhoff. Kind of would watch that. At least for one episode.
The shit out of that, man.
That would be a great SNL skit for 4.5 to 6 minutes.
Yep. Or just, a doctor bounces from timeline to timeline, and like every doctor he encounters in an alternate timeline is Hasselhoff class. That would be just perfect.
Except when he wakes up in that timeline, Hasselhoff is crawling on the floor eating a cheeseburger. Great.
That's a given.
Trying to reassemble the cheeseburger with a sonic screwdriver. Anyway, moving on to our last topic, folks. So, the new head of Warner Brothers movies, Walter Hamada, sat down with, I think it was the New York Times or somebody, did this huge, long interview, and talked an awful lot about a lot of things about the upcoming movies in the DC universe. And one of the things he confirmed that in 2022, there will be, count 'em, 3 actual legitimate Bruce Wayne Batmans in DC movies. And the way that breaks down is Affleck is going to be in Flashpoint because he's already been in a movie with the Ezra Miller Flash, and he will be sort of wrapping up his story. Michael Keaton, Hamada has confirmed, will be the ongoing older Bruce Wayne in all of the stories in Earth 1, which is apparently where Ezra Miller's Flash ultimately lands. Well, where he starts. That's Earth 1. And Robert Pattinson will be the ongoing Batman in all of the movies that will be set in Earth 2. They will be doing 2 separate timelines, Earth 1 and Earth 2, and that will allow them to have, God forbid, a Jared Leto Joker, which we know is going to be happening. He's filming stuff for the Snyder cut of Justice League, but other Jokers as well. I don't know which one of those 2 universes things like the Suicide Squad falls into. One would assume it's Earth 1 because it had the Affleck Batman in the first movie. But that's so. In 2022, there will be 3, count them 3, actual Batman portrayals in official DC version or Warner Brothers movies of DC properties.
I think that's fantastic. I'll be honest. I'm gonna be straight. I think it's fantastic because number one, DC. I said this last time, but DC needs to stop following the Marvel standard of the unified timeline nonsense. DC really excels at self-contained stories. They don't do connecting stories very well. Like even in their comic books, like their major events tend to be very flat, but their self-contained stories are so full of like love and personality, and they're amazing. Look at any Elseworld comic to see exactly what I'm talking about. And being able to spread it out in such a way allows for different creative writers and people to come in and actually craft really good stories for movies, because their movies, for the most part, suck ass. With the exception of a few here and there, they tend to suck ass. And if you can get some like good younger writers in there that understand the material, and I'm not, when I say that, I don't mean like obsessive Star Wars fans that think like one person should write absolutely everything. What I mean is get people in there that understand from that generation what they're writing, and then put that into a movie and make that movie amazing, because DC has some amazing characters, and it'd be a great way to just insert characters who aren't Batman. Because Lord knows I'm tired of Batman. I don't even want. Batman is DC's Wolverine, and I'm tired of seeing him in every goddamn thing.
Yeah. So, question is, what's the proper plural here? Batmen, Batmans.
I've used both, I believe, in the promotion of this particular show. So,
in the comics, they tend to say Batmen.
Batman. We were talking briefly about this last show with the whole concept of, what was it, 4 DC movies per year in 22 going forward.
Yep.
That's it's too much. Lewis, if your point is they take your advice and they do interesting self-contained things, maybe. But I don't know, man. 3 different people playing Batman at the same time. Haven't we had enough Batman? Aren't we bat saturated?
Absolutely.
Saturated.
We are Batman saturated, but
Definitely.
in the cartoons, in the animated movies, one of the things that they do, which if you look at a lot of the movies, is they'll start with one movie that has Batman. Like it'll be Justice League. You have Batman for all of like 15 minutes in that movie, and then he's gone, and then movie happens, and then the next sequel to that movie or continuation of those characters in a different plot has no Batman, because you already have Batman do the introduction. Now Batman is out of the picture.
Batman's the hook to get you in.
Yeah. He is.
See, I think that this may be where they're going with this. I don't think we're going to see a Batman movie every year, or 2 with 2 different Batmans. I think what you're going to see is Batman is going to be the central hook that connects the Earth 2 stuff. Those will all be Pattinson's appearance, but he won't be like deeply involved in every movie. And the Earth 1 stuff will be Keaton's appearance, and he won't be deeply involved in every movie. And I think this will give them an opportunity to do more Shazam, which had a cameo by Superman, sort of, where they will actually, in this case, have the ability to have a cameo or even play a more important role, like Tony Stark did after Iron Man 3 in almost every non-Avengers movie that was in the MCU. Tony Stark was either a very important not there anymore character, a mentor, or even at least somebody that's mentioned or appears a little bit in any of these other movies that weren't specifically, Tony and Cap. And I think that's kind of where they're going. That would be my guess, based on what I've been reading about this, where they're going with these. That Keaton and Pattinson will be the glue that holds together the Earth 1 and the Earth 2 universes. But there won't be movies. There's not going to be a Batman movie every year out of the 4. I'm positive about that. They just couldn't do it. They wouldn't be able to have the production time to do it. And certainly not if Keaton is going to be redoing his role as Toomes in the Spider-Man series. Remember, they laid that down at the end of Homecoming. The big hint that they're going to be doing a Sinister Six, and he's coming back as the Vulture. So
I love Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And I mean, also I think it really speaks well of him as an actor, as a person, that he has double dipped into the Marvel and DC universes. And I wanted to piggyback on what Crash was saying about the DC animated stories and all the different, they rule with the animation stuff is so good. And it has been for decades. I'm not talking every single one. You have some hits and misses, but on the whole, I think they do it right, where you get you get these dose of these familiar, lovable characters, but it's not this whole big like cinematic production. It's animated, and you
Yeah.
want to hear that deep Batman voice and all that stuff. And I will always go back to say how much I loved the new Harley Quinn animation,
Yeah.
where they were in an abandoned mall for part of their time. So, and I'm sorry, that might be a little bit of a spoiler, but
They
you
show up
know,
in a mall. That's like saying, hey, they show up in a hotel for part of their time. That's
right.
yeah.
But
So when I-
yeah, the only thing I'm really looking forward to with that is the return of Michael Keaton, because I am also Batman oversaturated, and I don't like Batfleck. Sorry about it.
Yeah.
So when I saw kind of the initial rumor blurb, whatever you want to call it, that Keaton was coming back, thought that was kind of cool in and of itself. But that he was going to play Batman. The first thing I thought of, and I think Rodney, we touched on this a few shows ago, was the idea that we might get a Logan type movie, that kind of stepped out of the sort of the normal mode of, huge action thriller. Well, Logan was a huge action movie too. Don't get me wrong, but that was a little more emotional impact, a little more gravitas, and a little less, muddy CG. This doesn't sound like that, which is a little disappointing for me, because I think that would be a more interesting use of Michael Keaton, who's got the acting chops to pull something like that off really well.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, he could even be the old Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond, which very much fills in that role that you were talking about with Logan. There were several episodes in Batman Beyond that old Bruce Wayne dealt with directly, and you got to see like parts of him that you didn't really get to see in any other capacity as Batman. And and like I was just thinking, like with 3 Batman and all these different movies, we'll get stuff like a live action Justice League Dark. We'll get maybe a question noir investigative kind of movie. We'll get like more characters that deserve to have movies that really don't get like a lot of play otherwise. Plastic Man, I think Plastic Man was in development, right? If I recall.
Yeah.
I think we talked about that.
Yep.
You wouldn't get that otherwise if you were dedicating like 90% of your production to Batman.
Yeah. And in theory, the Plastic Man that was in development was at least being talked about being sort of an R Deadpool type movie, which would make sense. Justin Cora, welcome to the show. Justin says, Batman 1989. 41 Brother, Bats to Men. Well done. Andrew Casali, welcome to the show. This is our last topic, folks, so we're just about wrapping it up. Lewis, you said Batman Beyond. The big rumor that's out there, and I don't know whether this is just an awful lot of people doing an awful lot of fan fiction, is that if Keaton is being brought in to set up a Batman Beyond, but it's going to be the Batgirl Beyond story. That instead of it being Terry McGinnis, it is Cassandra something, and I don't know if it's Terry's sister, daughter, whatever.
Cassandra Cain.
Not Cassandra Cain. It's Cassandra, and then the middle name has an L, so it's Kryptonian, and then McGinnis.
Huh.
This is a character that's in the comics. It's not a very well-known character. It's from the Batman Beyond comic.
Right. Yeah, I follow that comic. She must be the fairly new Batgirl, because there's a Batwoman and a Batgirl now.
Yeah. I think she is the new Batgirl. But the rumor is that that's what they're setting up, is that you will have a Beyond series, but instead of it being Terry McGinnis as a young Batman, it will be a young Batgirl. And I don't know whether there's any sort of accurate information from the people who have been speculating on that on the YouTubes and the forums and so on, but it's out there. And honestly, I'd kind of like that. I think that would be an interesting.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, you can do both. It wouldn't even hurt to do both, because Batgirl coming in is right after Terry's brother gets hurt as Robin Beyond, and like there's a whole eclectic, amazing amount of characters in Batman Beyond that I think people don't get to see because they've only seen the cartoon, the original cartoon, and they don't really know that the comic exists. So like it's rich. It's incredibly rich, and it would make fantastic movies on its own, especially for someone like me who's like super cyberpunk kind of guy.
That's true. I love the science fiction elements of the original cartoon myself. So, I think that's it, folks. Hello, pardon me. So, while I try to recover my voice, I know Greg has it's kind of a could we please, could we not, but it's a call out, so we're going to start with Greg, and anybody else after Greg, feel free to jump in with a could we please or could we not for this week.
For my could we please, I'm going to say, could we please raise a glass, metaphorically or otherwise, to the maestro of Japanese animation. Hayao Miyazaki turned 80 today. Seen a lot of really cool tributes from all over the interwebs, and one of my personal favorite movie makers and animators of all time.
Cheers to that. I've got
Cheers.
My new Eevee mug, which I got for Christmas. So
nice.
It's just water, but it's still cheers. You know.
Anybody else with a could we please or not?
This is a little personal, but just general. But could we please stop censoring femmes, people's bodies on the internet while letting hate speech and domestic terrorism and all that stuff go on? And I say that because when the whole thing went down with Insta, the thing, I don't even want to say it, Instagram went down with their new policies, myself and so many people I know have been shadow banned, and that really affects our jobs. And I'm annoyed.
Here.
Yeah, and I mean, we're hate speech people and fake political whatever. No.
Yeah.
But show a little bit of cleavage, you're out.
Don't go after the Russian bots. Go after the real people who have real bodies.
Mm-hmm. Who actually get a lot of work through their living story of, hey, here's my living resume. Go to my Instagram, you can see everything I do. Anyway, I said it was personal. I'm done.
Okay. And
the only thing that I can think of, I always, whenever we do this, I always try to think of something meaningful to say. So I'm not just talking air, but could we please not try to rush to go to conventions? Like, a lot of people I see nowadays keep crying, and I say crying not to be rude, but just it's something that they vent about constantly, about wanting to go to conventions and wanting to like avoid social protocol and things like that. And like, no, get on Zoom, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to people, talk to a therapist. You don't need a convention to be your therapy. You don't need to get blackout drunk at a convention to deal with your problems. If you do that at conventions all the time, and speaking as someone who has done that, maybe go see a therapist, maybe make connections outside of the convention, because what you're doing right now is really bad. It's bad for you mentally and socially.
Yep. And
reach out to other people. Don't rely on conventions to just be your social circle.
Yeah. I got to say, we both have friends who, because there aren't conventions, have become aware of the fact that their drinking wasn't social, that it was a problem, and have sought help. And please, if you need help, get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my only is, I'm going to put a plug and a plea. Could you please at least check out our page at patreon.com/nerdgallibor and decide if you want to help us go to conventions when it's safe to go to conventions, if it becomes safe to go to conventions. And on that note, as I usually do say, oh, by the way, 41 Brother says, dang, I missed most of this. Bollocks. Appropriate expression. Thank you. 8 o'clock every Tuesday. 8 o'clock Eastern Time every Tuesday. As we always say, sure, vaccines getting out there is not getting out there nearly fast enough, and guess what? It won't be out among the general populace wide enough for at least 6 months. Wear that mask, wash those hands, keep that social distance 6 feet away for at least the next 6 months, please. And probably longer than that. Masks look good on people.
I have so many now. I can
I
like
know.
match them with my outfit.
I should have brought my. I actually got one. It's actually got my logo on it now. So
If Asian countries can be doing this for a long time, we as Americans who consider ourselves incredibly independent and very initiative based, we can do it too.
exactly. Here, here. All right, folks. If you do want to check us out on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be talking about the Doctor Who Holiday Special in a full-fat spoiler chat, so lots of spoilers. If not, we'll see you next week for another edition of Nerd Week Live, when we talk about nerd news from the next week coming up onto a Tuesday. Rodney Brown signing out along with, let's start with Lewis. Say goodbye.
Well, thanks again, everyone. It was fantastic. I enjoyed the engagement with my friends here and seeing the people in the chat. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week. So have a fantastic night. Enjoy yourself. Go turn on Pornhub, whatever the hell you do. Have a great night.
Papa Smurf.
I guess we're going with Papa Smurf.
We're going right now because it's popped in my head.
Night, everybody. Crash and Go-Go. It's nice to see your beautiful faces back on the show again. No disparagement meant to Rodney, but love having you all back on the show, and we will see you next week.
And Go-Go.
Okay, I just complained about how you can't see me on Instagram, but here's the good news. You can find me at so many other places. I am also doing the long haul that I should have been doing for years, or the short haul of a long thing, and I'm very active now on Twitter. You can come see me be stupid on TikTok, and I'm finally uploading all this stuff to YouTube. So really, again, just Google Gogo Incognito. And hey, if you find my Instagram, that's great. That means my ban's been lifted.
Or you've been following Go-Go forever like I have. Good night, folks. Stay safe, please. Stay safe out there. And we will talk to you